To get started setting things up, go to your admin menu on the Clockshark website and select the Integrations option. Then select Add for QuickBooks. Then select QuickBooks Desktop. All recent versions of QuickBooks Desktop from the USA, Canada, and UK are supported on Windows PCs and servers. There is not an option to integrate Clockshark with the Mac version of QuickBooks Desktop. Many of our QuickBooks Desktop customers that use Mac will use a Windows version of QuickBooks Desktop on their Mac by having it hosted on a server or an application that allows Windows applications to run on Mac, like Windows Parallel. If you're using a QuickBooks Desktop version older than 2017, you'll want to check the specific support version list on the first screen of the setup process. Then select Continue to move to the Auto Import step. On the Auto Import step, you can select to import all of your active existing customers and jobs, service items, and employees into Clockshark. If you want to use your existing QuickBooks customers and jobs, service items, and employees in Clockshark without having to manually create them in Clockshark, it's usually best to auto import, so you want to keep this box checked. If you select the Auto Import option, any customers, jobs, service items, and qualifying employees will import into Clockshark. If anything imports that you don't want, you can easily delete it from Clockshark, and the deleted information will not import again. If you prefer to set up your jobs, tasks, and employees directly in Clockshark, and then map them to existing customers, jobs, service items, and employees in QuickBooks, then you'll want to keep the auto import off during the setup process. One thing to note here is that you only get one shot to import existing QuickBooks items into Clockshark and have them auto-create as Clockshark customers, jobs, service items, and employees, and that's during the initial setup process. If you proceed with setup without auto import on, then you will still have the opportunity to turn auto import on later from the integration settings screen in Clockshark. Turning auto import on after the initial setup will only cause new QuickBooks customers, jobs, service items, and employees to be imported. So if you don't want any existing QuickBooks items imported now, but you do want any QuickBooks items created in the future to be imported, then you'll want to leave auto import off during the setup, then turn it on after the initial setup with QuickBooks is completed. Another thing to note is that when you first connect to QuickBooks, if the auto import box is checked, Clockshark will import any active QuickBooks employees with valid email addresses into Clockshark as new Clockshark employees. The QuickBooks employees will need to have an email address listed in QuickBooks, or we will not be able to create them as a Clockshark employee automatically during the connection process. One thing to be aware of is that when the employee is created in Clockshark, they will receive an email welcoming them to Clockshark. If you prefer to create your employees in Clockshark manually, there's also an option to send them a welcome email in that creation workflow, and you will need to ensure that either auto import is turned off or that the employees do not have email addresses in QuickBooks. Let's take a moment to talk about how Clockshark customers and jobs work, and your options for importing QuickBooks customers and jobs into Clockshark. In Clockshark, employees will always track time to Clockshark jobs. Clockshark customers are optional and can be turned on or off in the Clockshark company settings page. Clockshark Customers allows you to group Clockshark jobs for reporting and job management of the jobs. When Clockshark Customers is turned on, employees are still only clocking into Clockshark jobs. If you have Clockshark Customers turned on, you will see the option to import QuickBooks customers and subjobs as Clockshark customers or jobs. If you have Clockshark Customers turned off, you'll have the option to import QuickBooks customers and subjobs as Clockshark jobs only. Most admins with Clockshark Customers enabled choose to import QuickBooks customers as Clockshark customers and QuickBooks subjobs as Clockshark jobs. But it's important to look at how you have been using QuickBooks customers as subjobs. If you only use QuickBooks customers and need to track time to them, you'll want to import QuickBooks customers as Clockshark jobs. If you always create a QuickBooks subjob for QuickBooks customers and want the time tracked to the subjob, you'll want to import QuickBooks customers as Clockshark customers and QuickBooks subjobs as Clockshark jobs. If you don't have Clockshark customers enabled in your company settings, you can choose to import QuickBooks customers or subjobs or both as Clockshark jobs. With this option, you can also choose how the Clockshark job created by QuickBooks is named. It can either be named as the QuickBooks customer and subjob combined, or just the customer name or just the job name from QuickBooks. When jobs are created in Clockshark, the address from QuickBooks will be imported for the job. Admins use this to create geofencing in Clockshark, while employees in the field use it to get directions to the job site. You have the choice to import the billing or shipping address field from QuickBooks. Most construction companies use the shipping address in QuickBooks to represent the physical address of the job site.